Hi guys, I'm Shmi and good morning to you on my first full day of this trip to Dubai. So I landed here yesterday, I had a night flight over but had an awesome first day catching up with the Caraba and his MSO HS, one of only 25 in the world, and then meeting up again with White S and the Bugatti Veyron Grand Sport Vitesse, as well as some other pretty cool cars, and even going up that building behind me, the Burj Khalifa, the monstrous skyscraper of Dubai, tallest building in the world that you can pretty much see anywhere you are in this city. In fact, you literally feel like you're next to it wherever you are in Dubai. But today is one of the main reasons I've come out, because we're going over to Abu Dhabi for the Formula 1 Grand Prix. This is the final race of this year's season. So the 2016 world champion is going to be decided today. It's between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. Obviously, by the time this video's out, we know who won. But it's going to be quite an awesome day, so I'm very much looking forward to it. I try to come out to this Grand Prix as often as possible, but to do so, I've got to take a car. I've got to drive about an hour or so over to Abu Dhabi, and I'm going to be here for another week or so, so it made sense to pick something up that I'm going to be driving for this week. So I got in touch with McLaren and suggested maybe they could let me drive a McLaren I've never driven before. The list isn't very long, you know, an F1 maybe? But no, they came out with another car that I have not yet driven to date, which is the 540C, the entry-level McLaren. This is going to be really quite interesting because when you think about it, this car starts out in a price point that competes with the R8, the Porsche 911 Turbo S. In England, it's £126,000, the entry-level McLaren. So this is what I'm going to be driving for this week. Very, very cool car. I've had a lot of fun in my previous test drives with the 570S and the 570 GT. But for this trip, it's going to be all about 540C. Let me quickly run over the sort of headline stats and figures and numbers then for the 540C. 540 PS, which is 533 brake horsepower, also has 540 Newton meters of torque. Numbers are pretty high then. It's on about a par with the R8 Plus, the Turbo S, similar kind of price point as well. You've got 0 to 62, 3.5 seconds. It's 3.2 in the 570S. 0 to 200 kilometers an hour, 124 miles an hour is 10.5, which is still blisteringly quick. That's the thing that's quite easy to forget. It's got the 3.8 litre twin turbo V8 that we all know and love if you're used to driving McLarens, but the 540C is the softer version of the Sports Series. The suspension is set up a little bit more gently. The steering feel as a result, of course, is slightly less direct. By having less torque, there's less instant throttle, which I've read means that you need to use the gears a little bit more, so I'll see how that feels. You know, you need to be thinking ahead slightly more to get the power ready to pounce. But I can tell you, when you want the power, you've got more than enough of it straight away. I mean, 540 horsepower, let's not beat about the bush, is a pretty big, solid, strong number. You've got, I would say, a more muted exhaust tone is definitely noticeable. It's very chilled, but for daily riding and just driving around, this car is not exactly uncomfortable. I have noticed that the speedometer ridiculously overreads, and I'd also heard about that before. When you're going the speed limit here, 120 kilometers an hour, the GPS Waze I have up says I'm going 111. So that's quite a significant difference. It's like 8% or something. Before you ask, the reason Waze is running is just because I like using it for traffic, and I'm driving to Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. There will be a lot of traffic, and built-in systems, as brilliant as they are, and this is a really good system with the integrated Android setup, is not quite as good as your sort of independent Waze can be with live traffic updates. But just pootling around in this car, I already feel like you could completely gel with this and use it 100% as a very, very all-round daily driver. I've popped by the McLaren UAE service centre, and inside are probably the largest number of McLarens I have ever seen in one place outside of Woking itself. The centre is also shared with Bugatti and Bentley, so you've got like 5 Veyrons, 5 P1s, a ton of 675 LTs, but unfortunately that is all rather off limits for the camera, so I can't share it with you. It's not open to the public. You can't come down and have a look or anything, but awesome to see nonetheless. Now, given that we're talking about using this car as a daily kind of car, I wanted to show you some of the sort of convenience features and practical things that make using it a little bit easier and a little bit more daily. So the first one of those is going to be the luggage storage, which you do by opening the front by pressing the button. It pops up, and this is thing number one. There is no clasp. You just lift it up. There is no like catch in there. I'm just going to wait for that to finish what it's doing. back where we were then, let me just show you closing this down. You literally shut it, as so, closes down nice and easily, and open it back up. He says, fiddling for the key in his pocket. Pop, open it up. And now, in a normal supercar, you'd be fiddling around trying to find the clasps. Sometimes they're here, sometimes in the middle, sometimes that side, sometimes they're down, sometimes they're up. Basically, they're impossible to find. So that makes it significantly easier to get your stuff out of the car. And then in here, you've got quite a large amount of space. You can fit sort of flight bags, like the bags you can carry on in an aeroplane, 2 deep probably, a bunch of other stuff. I've just got my laptop and some clothes and things in there at the second. It does go down to the floor. I've got another bag underneath, just in case you're wondering. So that does go pretty low down. Just close it up again, nice and soft, significantly improved over the Super Series bonnet clasps. Then things like the doors. These open a little bit more easily than they did on the 12C and the 650 because they basically go much more straight up rather than out, so they're less likely to hit curbs, and you don't need to open it very far to actually get out. And I think this is one sort of thing that's often misunderstood. Doors that open like this don't actually need that much space. So let's say you can't open it up because there's something here. If you had a normal car and you open the door that far, the gap would be the same. Likewise, you know, if a car was sort of that far away, in a normal car, the door would be to here and you wouldn't be able to get in. Whereas in here, you can actually squeeze through. So kind of surprisingly, you can get in here more easily than you could with normal doors. Sports Series, like I showed on the 570S and the 570 GT launch, has this new carbon tub which is much lower at the front. So they say it's easier for ingress and egress, which means getting in and out basically, because you've got more room to swing your feet through, not kicking on the tub. So it makes it a little bit easier to get in and out of the car. Convenience like that. Now inside, we've got a glove box, he says. I think you need the ignition on for the glove box, do you? Maybe you even need the engine on. So you've got a little glove box. Previous McLarens didn't have a glove box. Not huge, but I guess it's lockable. It's a secure storage area. You've got these little pockets on the door, so you can fit water bottles in there. Well, drinks bottles of any description really. Kind of secret. Now the reason they have the flap is obviously because if the door is open, whatever was in there is going to fall out. So you have the flap so you can close it. And things are secured in. You've got sun visors with a mirror. First McLaren to have a mirror on the sun visor. Obviously it adds a tiny bit of weight, but this is about a bit of convenience. Yeah, air conditioning is running like crazy right now. But you can see there's a few more things in the direction of practicality and using the car in a more daily way. And you've got a big parcel shelf back here as well. Everything designed just to be slightly easier. Pull the catch. Oh, that folds forward quite well as well. And you can fit some, technically you could fit some soft bags in there. You're not supposed to, because if you brake hard, it runs the risk of flying forwards. But let's face it, everybody does. That's the shelf, and it's got this sort of ledge, so it will hold your luggage back in there too. So you could easily go away on a long tour with one of these, or you could have a GT with an even bigger boot. But there are lots and lots of these sort of touches that basically make the Sports Series just that little bit easier to use on a daily basis. Anyway, so one more thing that I hadn't actually mentioned yet is it has the sort of comfort access. So when you pull the door back closed just after you've stepped in, soft close will close the door. Then with the left stalk you can do that, which will move your seat back to the right position and move the steering wheel as well. So yet again, even more things to make your life a little bit easier and more daily in a supercar. Another thing, speed bumps. These are particularly violent, but you have a much easier system for raising and lowering the lift now. You literally can just hold that lower stalk up than the Super Series had, where you had to do a sort of double action. It will lower itself at 60, or you can press and hold it down and get a beep, and down it's going to go again. So that's super easy. You can do it up to 40 miles an hour there, 60 Ks. So what more do you need? It's remarkable how chilled out this car is to just cruise along the motorway. Bowers & Wilkins Hi-Fi on. Obviously I can't play that right now because of sound and copyright and all that, but listening to music, just feeling relaxed. The seats are quite firm in the lower back, quite like Lamborghinis, but I'm not uncomfortable. I've been driving for nearly an hour, and I've got the first sign to Yas Island, which is of course where Yas Marina circuit can be found. So yeah, so far pretty good. We're arriving then. That's the Yas Viceroy Hotel that I've stayed in once before when I came out on Amania earlier this year. We go under a few tunnels, find somewhere to park, and then go in and check out the marina. But it's exciting to be back. Yas Marina, Grand Prix day. Here we are, parked up, and unsurprisingly, I would park right next to the coolest car I could find in the form of a Bugatti. What a coincidence, eh? Always cool that there was an empty space right behind it. Looks nice. I like the kind of extra red touches this car has around here, and in the engine bay as well. But I spotted a few more things about, so let's go take a look. Ferrari 599 GTB, 650S Spider. There are plenty of sort of generally luxurious cars around, Rolls Royces, Bentleys, Mercedes, Porsches. Then you get onto cool stuff like that. The Murcielago LP670-4 Super Veloce. They only actually ever built 185 of those out of the run of 350 that was intended. So pretty rare. Keep coming up, you've got a yellow Aventador tucked in here. Aventadors really are the cars of Dubai, the Middle East. You see so many of them. Abu Dhabi one there. The number of the Devil 666. That's the LT's brake horsepower, not the Aventador. Lots of yachts on that side. Actually, that's a Wally, if you know anything about your yachts. So that's quite special. But then, if I keep coming up, I've stumbled into a rather nice trio up here that maybe one person's brought. We've got an LT, a LaFerrari, and a 918 Spider. Both the LaFerrari and the 918 actually done up sort of racing style. That's very much like the FXX K style design on the LaF. The silver pinstriping and the black bits as well. Super, super cool. Oh, and the yellow Pirelli tyre writing and white Michelin tyre writing on the 918 in the liquid silver. So that's all right, not a bad start. Not even paying much attention to the LT there. Sorry, LT. So yeah, should see a fair few nice cars around as well later on, I suppose. Display stand with a GTC4 Lusso. And then it's Yas Marina. Look at this, all the yachts. They literally back over there onto the racetrack. This is such an awesome place. The sound echoing around. Oh my gosh. A Rolls-Royce Wraith rolls out. Bentleys. And who even knew Nismo made a Patrol? Well, I mean, the guys out here probably did, but I definitely didn't. The Phantom next to it. Then here, we've got an Aston Martin Lagonda Taraf. Those are seriously rare, very expensive. Oh, I like the colour, the dark blue, the dark blue. That's really smart, actually. I like that a lot. I really like that. At first, like, when those came out, people weren't sure about them, but I think it's awesome. What else? 458 Spider, Bentley. Oh, look, there's another 918 nose sticking out down there. What a surprise. This is absolutely crazy. Awesome. Ah, I recognise that car and that number plate. We have seen and filmed with that many times on the Gumball 3000. Awesome to see that there. Gonna try find and catch up with the owner. Ferrari 458 Speciale Aperta. And we have another 918 that's arrived as well. Then here we have the McLaren P1 Gtr, the James Hunt special edition version of the car. I've actually just been up in the McLaren Hospitality, which is right here looking out over the track as well. But this is very cool to see out here. The P1 Gtr program is of course pretty awesome, but we are now going to go for a little wander because we're going to be heading out to basically where the yachts are to go exploring this way, where I'm going to be watching the race that is due to start quite shortly. These are some big yachts. This one's a bit different. Etihad A380 flyby. That is cool. Look at that. The way they flew over the top there. The party vibe is strong. So, I'm not actually able to film any of the race today, but this is going to be awesome. It's over. New world champion Nico Rosberg, even coming second in the race, has won and become a new world champion. Boats, the yachts all chiming their horns, lights, the fireworks everywhere. This is super cool. This This has been an epic day, from picking up the 540C this morning, driving it over here to Abu Dhabi to watch the Grand Prix. A big thanks has to go to Al Masood Automobiles, who have hosted me on the yacht I've been watching today's race from. It has been awesome. There have also been a surprising number of ridiculously cool cars here. I think my first choice has to go to the dark blue Lagonda Taraf because I love that thing. I think it's grown on me since I first saw one. But I'm going to go now, get the shuttle back to my car, drive back to Dubai and call it a night. Thank you very much for watching. There's a lot more from me to come while I'm here in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. A lot more, trust me, especially after some of the things we've been planning today. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.